What's up, Cloud Gamers? Welcome to another CGX episode. This is episode 46. We are going to be discussing some cloud gaming news. A lot of good things happened this week. We have Luna with nothing. So we'll talk about. Did Luna have something? What happened with Luna?
They brought one game.
One game? Oh yeah. That's right. I have it in my notes. I totally spaced out. So we'll talk about that one game. All right. And then hold on real quick. I'm hearing myself echo. All right. So yeah, we'll talk about Luna's one game. We'll talk about Google Stadia with their two games announcement this week with Street of Rage and hunted looking game, which might be really good for the platform because again, I think any game Stadia can get is good. Builds up the library. We have GeForce Now with 11 games coming this week, and they have some pretty good stuff in that list too. So we'll get to that. I would have to say, based on the the poll that I put up here, who had the best news for this week, Xbox Cloud Gaming, which we'll get to. If you guys didn't know, that is officially the name of Microsoft Cloud Gaming Service now. And they had some really good, interesting news. We'll get to that. But what I'm most excited about for this episode is there's some rumors of speculation of some games coming to the PlayStation Now platform. It seems legit, but right now is just rumors, but we'll talk about those games and just get the panel's take on how we feel about those games coming to the platform. So we got our normal panel here, no special guests today, but that's good because miss this guys and miss chatting gaming, cloud gaming with them. So we're good to just catch up with their thoughts on the cloud gaming news for this week. We'll include the chat. We'll say hi to you guys in a bit, but let's just introduce the panel and see what everyone's doing, see what they're playing. And yeah, let's go with that. Hell Monkey, how are you, sir? What have you been playing? What platform?
Okay, so with the Xbox Cloud Gaming news this week, I jumped right into Dirt 5 again. One of the games that I wanted to put some time into. I like my racers, and it's running so sweet right now. It's running so much better than it used to be. So much so, I have created my own playground. That was loads of fun. The creator's really good to use. I love driving around everyone else's creations, but I'm not driving around to get the fastest time. I'm driving around looking for ideas on what to make next, if you know what I mean. the timer's ticking away and I ain't even bothered. But no, that's so good. And then, as we were saying in the pre-podcast lobby, I'm just done finishing the game of the year, Power Wash Simulator. People will laugh. I don't care. It's so satisfying. It's not difficult. It's just it's so easy and quick to jump into. On GeForce Now, that is as well. By the way, it was only £13, so that's around about $15, I would say. Worth every penny. So satisfying to play. And other than that, just running tests on Xbox Cloud Gaming, seeing what games have improved, what games haven't. Still a bit of a hit and a miss right now, but it's progressing. So
Cool. Again, we'll talk a lot more about Xbox Cloud Gaming. Still trying to get the name down packed, but we'll talk more about that. We'll have a huge segment for it. But let's check in with GTP, sir. How are you? By the way, I saw your podcast on Waypoint, man. That was some good stuff, speaking that knowledge. But how are you doing today, sir? What have you been up to? What platform have you been using?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was an unexpected invite from Rick Tone, and it
Good
just turned out to be a
stuff.
lot more fun than I expected it to be. So
Yeah.
good times there. It's awesome to be back here on Saturday. We are in the holiday weekend for some of us, so it was a little bit tough, but we're here, or I'm here. And pretty much for me, like Hell Monkey, Dirt 5 is a game I've kind of raved about since it came out, and I've jumped back into that a lot on xCloud and Stadia both, back and forth a good bit. And Gears 5, I've gotten back into. It's a game I only went about 50% of the way through, and then I kind of got caught up in some other stuff. So it's actually running well enough now on xCloud and stuff. I've started picking it back up now again to finish playing through that. So pretty much Gears 5 and Dirt 5, and pretty much all cloud. I don't even think I've done a lot of local this week, which is kind of crazy.
Ooh, that's a big one, man.
Yeah, it's been
It's a
fun.
big one. Okay. Cool, man. Good to see you guys playing the updated Xbox Cloud game. And again, we'll get to that here in a bit. But let's check in with Duncan, sir. How are you today? What have you been playing? What platform?
Yeah, for myself and Hellmonkey, the holiday weekend is next weekend when it's, let's see when Hellmonkey actually realizes what next weekend is. Yeah, so he's just tweaked off. It's just me about through it. It's just me about through it. I've been having a lot of fun here. I've been out there just testing xCloud at this moment in time. I haven't really settled in one game bar. The Sea of Thieves. I just love my Sea of Thieves. I've been just jumping from game to game because it's like a kid in a candy shop, just jumping, and just saying, is there a difference? Is there a difference? Which games? Have all the games been updated yet? But it is just really, really exciting with the Xbox stuff. And I've jumped into. I'm still plodding along. I'm just doing it in slow bursts on the Lego builders. I don't want to blast it all. I just want to keep that as my sort of chill out game. But yeah, I've been playing. It looks like nothing but lots of everything.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's good to see y'all playing, multiple platforms and multiple games, and especially the new Xbox update too. All right, let's check in with Ben though. How are you, sir? Good to have you on here, Ben. What you been playing? What platform?
What have I been playing? I didn't play a lot this week. I played some Pine on GeForce Now.
Yeah.
Did a live stream of that. That was fun. Very Zelda-ish. Play Among Us every week on GeForce Now, but I have a group of friends that I played that with. That doesn't really count. I mean, you can run that on a potato. Other than that, not a lot. It's been kind of a slow week for me, or busy week, but slow for gaming.
Okay. I didn't hear anyone say Rainbow Six, man. Really, really surprised here.
Didn't even touch it.
Dang, y'all. So I've been playing Rainbow Six. I've been getting my behind whooped. It has not been a fun experience. Just be 100% honest with you. I used to be good at that game at one point. I thought I still had it. Lesson learned. I think I'm done. But I think overall though, the port for Google Stadia ran pretty smooth. But you are at a disadvantage when you're playing on Stadia because you're playing against people who have PCs and they have mouse and keyboard, they have higher FPS count. And so, man, I'm seeing people move at speed that I've never seen on PS4. But anyway, I think because of the disadvantage of Stadia in that game, I think I'm gonna either back off or play with just people, switch that settings to where I play with only people using a controller. Because again, I'm okay at that game, but it's tough right now. But apart from that, go ahead.
I was just going to say you can turn off the crossplay.
Yeah,
but
but
then
then
you're going
can
to.
Yeah, that's
What
how
I'm
they.
just saying.
This is exactly what I said weeks ago when they announced Rainbow Six Siege on Stadia. I was like, it's not that it's gonna be unplayable as a game. It's just the people you're playing against. When you throw PC cross playing in there, it's so uneven.
It is, and I hope I come across someone who's really skilled at this game who plays in Stadia. I would definitely like to get some tips. So streamers, if you stream this game, if you stream in Stadia and you're pretty decent, let us know here. Give us some tips because I really want to play the game, but I almost broke my controller and I don't get that angry. That's how pissed I was, man. It got very uneven, but yeah. I've been also testing a lot of Xbox Cloud gaming, like you guys, right? Just checking which game recently got updated. And the experience have been good, but I got some stuff to say about that too. But we'll talk more about that when we get to that segment. But yeah, did I miss anything? If not, we're gonna hop on to talking about the news. Cool. All right, so let's start off with Luna. One game released this week, and that game is Bug Fables. I don't think this game was actually. They gave us a roadmap of the games coming on the platform for the month of July, and I don't think this game was on there. Now, this game also released on, from what I'm seeing here, I think is Game Pass as well, Xbox Cloud Gaming. But yeah, this game is quite decent. I wouldn't call it.
I did play that game.
Did you like it?
It was very cartoony and kind of quirky and slightly funny. I could see myself playing it some more. I put maybe 45 minutes to an hour into it on Luna.
Okay. So would you recommend it?
If you want like a casual, laid-back game that's kind of like a turn-based RPG style, like yeah, it's an entertaining game. It's fun. It's more, childish, but it's good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you're having some fun with it, but definitely not my cup of tea. But yeah, this released, guys. Only game they released for this platform for this week. So I'm just gonna open this up to the panel, and I got some stuff to say about Luna, but to be fair, I want the panel to put their take on this platform. So we've always give them a break, saying that they in beta, right, and eventually things are gonna turn around for them, right, when the beta trial is done. But my question to you guys is, how long should we give Luna a pass, man? You seen the moves that xCloud is making. I'm still gonna call it xCloud. Y'all gotta deal with that for a bit. But you see the move that they've just made last week. You see the moves that Google Stadia is trying to make. You see the move that GeForce Now is making. Even though Shadow had a rough start, they're still trying to bounce back. Luna's quiet, y'all, and it's really starting to bug me. But I just want to open this up to the panel and see what they have to say about this. How much time are we giving giving Amazon Luna to get out of beta? So I'm gonna open it up. Where is Luna for you guys right now? Are you guys satisfied with it, or do you think they can do more to put Luna on the map? So GTP, what's your take here, man?
I know you're not a fan of the beta.
Nope.
Especially when they go for a long time. I think one of the longest ones I know of is GFN. GeForce Now is something like 5 years in beta or something like that before it came out. And honestly, pre their release, I had horrible experiences in their beta and didn't like it. When it released though and came out as a full-fledged product, it worked really, really well for me. I don't really put a time frame. I don't really have a huge issue with companies needing to take whatever amount of time that may be to get something ready. It obviously can never be something that's indefinite, but especially not knowing everything that's going on behind the scenes, I just don't want to rush anybody out the door and then have something, to me, Luna isn't ready to be out of beta yet. They need 1 or 2 more channels, slight increases to the performance on non-Luna Plus games, and to continue bringing the 1 game a week or so for a little longer and build things up and maybe get closer to New World's release. And I don't even know if they'll come out of beta at that point or if they'll kind of just expand more globally at that point, but do it like a global beta before they get into their full release. For me personally, I don't really have any issue with the beta thing because I do see continued improvements, games coming, and where it's headed. So right now it's not bothering me.
Okay, good to hear you taking it. Ben, what's your take on Luna, where it's at currently?
I mean, I don't have an issue with it. They're, like Jerry said, they are constantly still building. It's not like they're slowing down. They're making improvements. I will say, it works way better on the Fire Stick than it does on any of my other devices. Like mobile, great. It's always worked great on that. But it works better on the Fire Stick than it does on my old MacBook that I have, and it doesn't work on my Chromebook. As long as they keep improving the devices that they can do and keep adding games, every week, every other week, I think as long as they're working on it, they still get a pass from me. I agree that having more channels would be nice, and I feel like they need to add one more channel before they come out of beta. Maybe
Okay.
like a EA Play channel. I think that would be cool.
Okay. Man, y'all are just giving them a pass, man. What's happening here? All right, let's check in with Duncan. Where you at with Luna, man? Are
If
you
you're, I think it's fine being in beta. If you're happy enough where Xbox is, that's still in beta. It's,
Yeah. Okay. So let me clarify something. Let me clarify. Yes, Xbox cloud gaming is still in beta, but Luna's in beta. You see, compared the two, right? You see one in beta with Xbox. You see the news after news that they're putting out. You see the moves that they're making, bringing the Series X Blade, communicating to the public how the beta process is going, right? Luna, on the other hand, is in beta. They're giving us one game a week, right? Like, what's happening with the channels? No announcement. New World is coming out next month. What's going on with that? No communication with that, right? Like, compare the two. They're both in beta, right? Don't you think Luna should be doing more
No.
in beta?
yeah, I think they should be doing a bit more, obviously, because they want to get over here. But if you go and have a look what's happened at GDC in a couple of weeks, they are completely hooked into the whole Amazon ecosystem. I can provide you the link here. And it looks like they are not talking about a Wii expansion. They're also talking about a global expansion coming. So you just have to go sniffing for your new news, unfortunately. I'm happy enough where they're going. We are seeing progress. We are seeing them add new features. They're going very, very slowly. They're doing their Twitch push as well. Again, I can see where they're going, and a beta is a beta, and Microsoft's beta started before theirs. I think if you're going to be slagging off Luna for being in a beta, even though they're making improvements, you have to be saying the same about Microsoft. I think beta covers a lot of their sins, and they are making improvements and they are adding. So I know where you're coming from. There, you haven't seen a big, massive, oh my goodness, here's a big, massive step up like you've seen with Microsoft, but they're just doing it nice and slowly. And by the looks of things, it looks like their 4K is coming on shortly because they've actually updated the 4K bit now to, I think it's coming soon now instead of whenever.
I noticed that earlier this week that it said coming soon. That was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the interruption. Going on.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Keep going, Duncan.
He's muted.
Yeah, that was basically me. But I'll check you this wee link here if you want to see where Amazon are actually thinking. They are lumping Luna in along with their AWS service at GDC. So they're going to have a Luna representation at their big, massive dev note about AWS game tech.
When is GDC?
GDC is in a couple
12.
of weeks. The 20. This talk's going to be on the 22nd of July, and it goes on for an hour or so.
So if GDC comes and Luna is still where Luna's at, no announcements, would y'all still be giving them a pass?
Yeah, look. See, here's the thing. They don't need to rush. Cloud gaming is not a massive market right now. They don't need to rush it out. I think we're forgetting here that xCloud, Xbox Cloud Gaming Project Stream, whatever you want to call it, Project xCloud, sorry. That's been in beta since like 2018. Like that's when that was first just sort of came to fruition. There's so many players in the cloud gaming market right now already. It's actually getting a little bit overflown for what the companies can get out of it right now because it's still a niche market. I'm selfish me is saying get it to the UK because I want to try it. But, the logical side of my brain is saying, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't rush things out. They don't need to have a big announcement. Every week, Xbox have the advantage of being in the gaming industry for 20 plus years now. Amazon just starting. They don't need to rush. They don't need to, have any of that negative press when they rush something out and it doesn't work properly. Yeah, I just think just keep doing what they're doing. They're curating the library. Things are coming soon. When they come, they'll announce it. And as Duncan said, yeah, you can find out what's happening. You just need to go digging for it. And, the mainstream ain't going to go digging for it. We are. But, your general consumer ain't. They're just going to wait until it pops up on their social feed one day. And, oh, there's Luna. Okay. But they're doing a good job of promoting that with the Twitch streamers and that, So, yeah, I'm happy where they're going right now. I don't see the need to rush. You rush something out and it could set you back, one step forward, 2 steps back, sort of thing. So
Yeah. Call me impatient, man, but just seeing like all the moves that's going on, right, with all these companies, and Luna's just in there quiet. It gets to me, man. Like I own a Fold 2, and I really want to pick this up. I have everything on here. I have xCloud on here. I have except from PSN Now. We'll get to that. That's another thing. But everything else is on here, and I still can access Luna on my Android phone. And Luna is available for Android devices. Like what? What is the holdup here? I don't get it, man. They going way too slow for my liking? Like release it for other devices, man.
For another perspective on that, Ace, if you were to look at it and do a little comparison as to Stadia's release and being a more full-fledged, product, just trying to come out and do things without, a real beta, which I think a lot of us have agreed that a 6-month to a 1-year beta would have been much better for Stadia. And they could have done something like Luna's doing now, where they started working with their YouTube streamers and other content creators to build hype and to build that service up, to get the features right, the share plays, the crowd play, all that kind of stuff everyone talks about. And they could have really slow baked that service and not hurt anybody's feelings or gave a sour taste to some hardcore gamers out there or people that don't want to try it anymore. And then they could have maybe exploded after that. And I think that's what Luna sees, that, if you come out too fast, if you come running out of the gate too fast, you stumble and you fall, and it will take you much longer, which is where Stadia is at, to rebuild confidence, get the library going again, work with developers. They had to fall and get back up. And I think Luna or other companies like Xbox and Beta would rather not fall. They would rather beta their way into being a ready product. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it. And I think if Stadia would have took the Luna approach, they would be in a different position now.
I get, yeah, okay.
But if I was a cloud gamer only and didn't do local, I would be as impatient as you are for it. But I do understand, like to step back and look at it, though, we want these products to be better. And if people keep getting poor experiences, cloud's going to take that many more years to take off and to do well.
Yes, if I'm talking from my gamer sort of side, where it's just me as 100% gamer, not looking at the big picture, I'm exactly where you are. I want them to hurry up and get their butts in the gear.
Everything works tomorrow. Yes.
I want them over here now. I want them jumping on all these different channels and everything under the sun. But me just stepping back, and as Jerry said, you can see why they're doing it and why they're getting passes as what we are, whatever you want to call us, it's because you can see what they're doing with the big picture sort of stuff. But me as a gamer, I want things now.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna say this and with it, right? I'm okay with the beta tag. I don't mind the beta tag, but let's be more excited, Luna. Let's be more excited.
But you were more excited about what xCloud's done the past 7 to 10 days, even though they're in beta, because the amount of improvement, the amount of hype, the amount of news versus Luna. So even though they're still in beta, you were that much more excited because of the big jump in performance and
this stuff happening, man. This stuff happening.
You felt a big shift in xCloud, even though it was still in beta. So totally get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
And it's going to say in a couple of weeks when the 4K drops, you're going to go, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go through and have a look at all these games on Luna, which are in 4K.
That'll be great. Let's make it happen, though, right? Let's make it happen. I've been giving them a lot of passes, man. And I mean, again, what, 2 weeks ago I talked about the potential, or last week, right? With the Prime membership, again, when that becomes a thing, I think they have potential to really dominate this space. But man, this beta period is going way too slow for my liking. Again, call me impatient, but I think I think they're going way too slow. Anyway, we don't want to spend an hour on Luna like we did last podcast, so let's move on. But anyone else have anything to say about Luna before we jump ship? No? Okay. Cool. Who's next on the plate, man? I'm so terrible with my show notes today, man. All right, GeForce
GFN.
Now. Huh?
GFN.
GFN. All right, cool. But real quick before we get into that, let's just look at the chat, see how that poll is doing. So we have 34% of you guys think Stadia has the best news. 12% that GeForce Now is always on the bottom, right? And then xCloud 50. Okay, so this
And there's a like a 0.001% chance, which is me saying Facebook had the best week.
you know, Duncan, let me give you the segue. Just explain what happened, because I didn't even cover that. But explain to the people what's going on with Facebook and why you're excited.
I'm excited for the fuller sort of potential for Facebook much further down the line. If we think Luna's doing a slow rollout, Facebook is doing an even slower rollout, but they're actually having great results out there. They have announced this week that 1.5 million people, again, there's only one company which isn't giving figures out there, who shall remain nameless, but 1.5 million people have played on Facebook cloud gaming. And that is only in the US. So that even shows you how much they are actually influencing things. They are going to be expanding out to the rest of the world in the different countries in 2022. I like what this. They are targeting games which work best in the cloud. It's mobile games, unfortunately, at this moment in time. They're really downplaying this. But my potential for Facebook is going to be Oculus in a number of years. I think that is absolutely nailed on, where you'll be able to stream VR games for the Facebook. But I think we're. Generally speaking, us in the cloud gaming market, or who keep an eye on the cloud gaming, we always don't really pay attention to Facebook, and we don't pay attention to Tencent, because they're going about, if, like I was saying about, if Luna's going about very quiet, these are going whisper quiet, because they are just putting the stuff out there all the time. And if you remember back a couple of weeks ago, Facebook has actually picked up Creator as well, so that's going to be probably integrated into their Facebook cloud gaming as well. So I think they have had the best week, because they're coming out and they have gave a roadmap of what they're going to be doing.
Okay,
I can drop the link in if you want.
Yeah, do so. I again haven't not been following that at all, so thanks for clarifying that. So GTP, we're gonna put you in the spot, man. GFN News, let the people know what happened and just your take on it.
Yeah, it was a cool week because, it's the beginning of the month, so we get the roadmap for the 36 games. We had the release of games, I think it was like 11 for the week. And I'm pretty sure as far as game releases go, Ace is going to call it a week. I would agree on strictly game releases if you want to look at it. As far as big releases, there's not a lot there. Here's something I want to mention, though, and it was interesting. I did something different with my GeForce Now news video last week. I did like the Steam. I showed the games in Steam with like the reviews and stuff while I went through them. And it kind of gave me another perspective on what I consider a week of games to be, because every single one of these games I looked at in Steam had thousands of reviews that were either very positive or overwhelmingly positive, with fairly large player bases. So while it's weak for me on games I don't want to play, it's obvious to me that they are bringing games that a ton of people on PC are playing. So I have to kind of look at it as fair as possible. The sale is awesome. We got like 750 games on sale, and the way that they put that together in your app so that you can see all the games that are on sale
was
in
cool,
Steam. It made
yeah.
it so easy. So,
Yeah.
and not to knock anybody, but when you're going to call something like a mega sale, that's a mega sale. That's a lot of games on sale. So that was really cool. And the other awesome thing is over 900 games now. So you can bet that GFN is going to do something special soon. They haven't said anything, but for 1,000 games, they're going to hit that 1,000 game mark soon enough. So I'm expecting, you know, something cool to come. So that's awesome. 750 games on sale, almost 1,000 games on the service, over 90, I think it is, free to play games on there now because they just added more. And even though the games weren't big for me, these are highly reviewed, well-played games on Steam that they release. So for me, a decent week for GFN. If you're a PC gamer and this is the stuff that you're into, GFN is really doing a good job.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that, all of that. And yeah, we'll get to the games. I'm gonna list some of them here, but we'll get to some of these games. Let's check in with Duncan though. What's your take on GFN Now news?
I think, again, I think this week there was, it went out from my head there, there was a couple of games which I like to look off for this week. In Cigarette 2, and what was the other one? Oh, it was the Power Wash. It was the Power Wash. I was on sale, but it's Cigarette 2 anyway. For me, looked a absolutely class game, and they're just knocking it out of the park. It's another 36 games coming in this month, and if you actually go have a look what games are coming, there's a number of end date releases in there as well, because some of these games are coming like the 30th of July and they've got it in, so you know that they're going to be end date. I think that they are not just going for the PC games, what you would strictly call PC games. They're going for games for absolutely everybody, and they are just doing so well. I still want them to improve. We all know where they are, but I think if Microsoft wasn't there, they would be head and shoulders above everybody else out there. They are just phenomenal, and the improvements they are pushing out each and every week are class. They're making all the changes as well, like Jerry said, with the Steam sale filter on the app as well. You can see what games are on sale. It's just absolutely madness what they are doing, and we're going to be closing in with the 100 free-to-play games, the 1,000 games in total. They're just so close to so many sort of landmarks here. I think they are just doing so well. Are we going to talk about the trolling, or shall we not talk about the trolling with the games as well?
Go ahead, explain.
Oh, are you gonna say Orcs Must Die 3?
Orcs Must Die 3
You're gonna tell me GFN had a weak week, but then when Orcs Must Die 3 hit Stadia, everybody was like, "It's a great week." How is that a week on GFN? It's like a double standard
but
there.
it didn't hit this week. It was announced this week.
Yeah,
it didn't hit this
still
week. This is July game.
And with this as well, what we've been talking about for months now is the crossover of games, because there's Chris Tales, so you can pick up Chris Tales on Stadia. You're going to be able to pick up Chris Tales on GFN, and you're going to be able to play Chris Tales on Xbox, because that is going to Game Pass day one as well. This is brilliant. So many different options out there now to pick up games. I think it's just brilliant the way the market is going. But GFN, again, I think have been absolutely class again.
I mean, looking at their July game lineup, the 11 games coming out this week was weak, really weak. But you look at the July games, I think, again, the new Yeast Monstrous Nox, right? That should be coming out on Google Stadia. I mean, that's, I would say, Stadia's biggest July release. So the fact that GeForce Now is getting it in July, it's good. Again, Orcs Must Die 3. I feel like the game for this month coming is pretty decent, but the release, the 11 games, let's look at those games, man. Look at these. What is this? Spectrum Eternal Return looks okay. Castle Flipper looks decent. Earth Defense Force looks okay. Fishing looks okay. I mean, come on, guys, right?
That Spectrum game, I mean, that was the first free Epic game that we've seen on there in what, 2 or 3 months now. I'd say that's a
No,
pretty good
no,
deal. No, there's been other ones.
Overcooked and Overcooked 2 was on the other week, and there was one before it as well.
Okay.
They've made a wee return the last couple of weeks, I think.
Okay. Well, it's nice to see them have the Epic game on there when they haven't
Yeah.
been doing that as much lately.
And just to mention here, you're going to see, I think it's Slipways down twice. You're getting it in Steam this week, and you're going to get it if you go down to joining in July. You're going to see it's going to the Epic Game Store as well. So there is some double games there, but again, I don't mind that, more options and things like that. I think it's just worth pointing that out.
Okay. All right. Anyone else want to add? Monkey, what's your take overall for the GeForce Now news?
So obviously, I get to know these games a wee bit better. Doing the research every week for the videos and whatnot, or for the GeForce Now news, a bit like Jerry and Duncan too. And yeah, look, it's all down to perspective. You're going to look at these games, as a list. That's all why I'm not doing a list anymore in the video. You look at them as a list, and you just get a title, and it gives you nothing really. Until you look into it, and then you see, do you know what? That's a game I actually might enjoy. Oh, that's a game I actually might enjoy. The more you read about it, I think a lot of people just look at the games and go, "Oh, it's quality, it's quantity over quality," sort of thing, which is definitely not the case. They're giving everyone options, through a massive genre. Different genres of games there. There's something in there for everyone. There generally always is. And I'm of the opinion, don't knock it until you try it, sort of thing. You can read a review, you can watch a trailer, and then you can say, oh, that doesn't look like a game for me. But just looking at a list that someone's read off and saying, oh, that's not for me, I think you need to do a wee bit more research that way. I like some of the games. I'm disappointed in Soul Worker. That's the anime sort of hack and slash RPG. I couldn't get it started. It's all in Chinese writing. So other than that, just something for everyone there. Good week. I'm pretty happy with that week.
You are? Okay. And anyone else want to give their take on here with the GFN news?
Oh, I was just gonna. I meant to say it earlier, but with Jerry's comment about having the summer sale, the Steam summer sale thing built into the app, where you don't have to go trying to figure out which games are on GFN. Like, that was really cool for me.
Yeah.
Also, if you missed it, you should go back and watch Duncan's thing with Corey from GFN.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool video.
Yeah. And again, shout outs for them to come into that stream again. It's pretty cool to see these companies doing that. We'll talk more about Stadia, but they did a lot of that this week as well, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I wasn't going to plug that. But if you go down to the bottom, he actually went into a bit of detail on why them games didn't come, which I think that was well explained, and why they weren't coming and why they still might come. So,
what did he say?
Basically that they were still trying to work on them, and there was just unforeseen reasons why they couldn't come. I think it was very apologetic towards it, and said they're still going to be trying to get them.
So do we give them kudos for that, or do we, when we talk about Stadia, we talk about like how sometimes are people allowing these games on the platform and it runs terribly, right? So for this case, they stopped the games from coming to GeForce Now. Is that a good thing, do you think, or is
yes? Yeah. Oh, are you going to say the same game as I was going to say?
Not one particular game. Carry on, Duncan. Carry on. Sorry.
I'll do my one quick. If you scroll down to the bottom there, Ace, you'll see that there is a game which has been pulled from GFN, and they have actually made that decision themselves because the developer has stopped really supporting the game. It was
If you
Population Zero.
Population Zero.
Yeah.
They have pulled that because of they're worried about quality and that. So that's what I was just going to add. So, Hellmonkey.
Yeah, so basically all I was going to say was, NVIDIA themselves handle the onboarding of the games. They have a big say in what comes on to GeForce Now. They don't just let the developers loose with the tools and, have at it. And, we end up with an Outriders scenario sort of thing. They are
I was
there
about to
and,
mention Outriders.
and listen, this isn't, a hit at Stadia. I just think that the quality control is very good, and that's why they pick up these games and they pick up these issues. And it's disappointing. The biggest one is the PC enhanced edition of Metro Exodus that hasn't made it. We know why it hasn't made it. We know it's going to come at the next round of software updates, which they said they didn't give an exact time frame, but they said it's happening later in the year. I'm fine with that. There's nearly 1,000 games to choose from there, and they're letting us know why it can't come and the reasons why it can't come. And that to me says that they are looking after everything in house. The quality control's there, and they can pick these things up.
Sure. Quality control. I mean, we said a lot here on this podcast, but I do think it's pretty neat that they do have control. They do have a say. They're not just trying to dump games on the GeForce Now platform, hoping that it performs well. I think overall it's a good thing for them to say, the devs are saying this game might not be ready. Let's not push it, right? Let's give them time or take time to make sure that the game works well on my platform. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good thing for them. But yeah. So adaptive sync was something else. Chief just did a video on it today. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but talking to Chief, he was saying he saw like a major improvement. And right now, I think he said there are a few games that support it. I think he was testing out Destiny and Rainbow Six Siege, but Siege, whatever you guys call it. But he was saying that you do notice a difference. So I was wondering if any of you guys, I don't know if it's available for the public to test yet, but GTP, I don't know if you got your hands on it.
Yeah, it was part of their more recent update to the app.
Okay.
Yeah, Chief had an awesome thing going there. I had talked to him about that before. It's a great feature. They've basically shaved about 16 milliseconds off of adaptive sync games, and when you're gaming, especially a first-person shooter, that is a ton. 16 milliseconds is more latency in total that I would get on a PC in total anyway. So to shave that much off is a lot to do. So, and I've played a couple games. I think Apex Legends is another one with adaptive sync. And you do notice the difference. You can tell the difference there, but the game itself has to support adaptive sync for that to work with the app to support it. So they kind of tandem together, and the adaptive sync the game is doing, it's doing that along with the app or the browser stream or whatever, and handling that. But you definitely can notice the difference.
Yeah. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say I'm with Jerry there. Chief was talking it up, and I jumped in on Destiny 2. The best place for me to play Destiny 2 has, apart from local, has always been Stadia. I usually play on GFN, and I go with that. There's a slight drop in quality in the game. I feel on GFN, but there's more players, of course. Turned on that adaptive Vsync, and oh my god,
You can notice a difference.
It's night and day.
Wow.
It is night and day. The slight latency, it's noticeable but playable. That's almost gone, by the way. It's like ridiculous. I don't know what magic they have done, what this adaptive Vsync is doing, technically, but keep doing it, man, because it's working for me. It's absolutely fantastic.
So that's really cool to hear because, people are like, other platforms don't have features like Google Stadia, like Stream Connect and all those things. But GeForce Now actually, they have features. They don't brag about it a lot, like highlights or, ray tracing and Vsync. These is so cool to see these features like improve a game. I mean, Chief was really blown away by the performance and just hearing you talk, and GTP as well. You guys seem to really notice the difference. So it'll be pretty cool when they do start like incorporating this into more games. I mean, that's gonna make a difference when it comes to latency and performance for GeForce Now moving forward. So overall, man, this is quite impressive. It's pretty good stuff, right?
Yeah, no, and I think just what you're saying there about the features, I think it's just sort of it's the norm now with the GeForce Now. They have all the different options from like the PC settings from the PC games sort of thing. So you get to tinker a lot more with your graphics and with your bit rates, etc. And it's just everyone knows that's what it is now. People coming in new that's maybe not played cloud gaming before, seeing everything they can tinker around with to get the best quality. Yeah, it's really good. It's brilliant.
That's awesome. So people in the chat are wanting me to check in on the polls, and it's pretty cool to see the polls change as the podcast continues to go on. So right now, GeForce Now dropped again, 9%. Stadia is winning. I just checked about like 5 minutes ago, and xCloud was up 45, 43. Now Stadia is at 45, xCloud is at 42. PlayStation Rumors is at 3. GeForce Now just went up a little bit, but yeah, we haven't even talked about Stadia yet and so high, but we'll get to these two and see if this makes a dent in the polls. But yeah, if you guys haven't voted yet, I think it's fun. Vote. Should be cool to see at the end who wins overall. Anyone else with GFN before we move on to what's next on the list? I think Stadia is up next. Before we move on to Stadia, anyone else want to add anything to GFN? Nope. Okay. So Google Stadia again had, I think, a decent week. It's going to be quite interesting to see what the people in this panel have to say about Stadia news. The pro games, I would have to say, was kind of the weak thing about Google Stadia this week. I wasn't a big fan of the pro games released. We had Moonlighter, which is, I would say, probably one of the best games for pro members. We had Darksided the Detective. We had Street Power Football and Terraria. So just want to check in with the panel members. Out of those 4 games released for pro, did any of you guys claim it? Did any of you guys play it? To go as far as to even ask, is any of you guys excited about this pro games released in the Google Stadia platform? So to get started, GTP, what's your take on this?
So you guys already know I have the addiction to the claim button, and I have the claim all, so you don't even have to individually. So I just always immediately go claim all. I have a library full of games that will literally never get touched. Moonlighter is a really good game. I played it a ton already elsewhere, so I'm not going to jump into that again, and there wasn't really anything else for me there. Nothing exciting in the pro games for me, but like I said, I can't help myself. I always claim them all just in case, but okay. It's a lot like Epic Game Store free games. Most of the free games I get from there, I'm never going to play. They're in my library, but I just can't help myself. When there's free stuff, I go click.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. How about you, Duncan? What's your take on these games coming to the Google Stadia platform?
Oh, I could go on a rant, but I don't think people want me to go on a rant. I will just say a couple of people have messaged me, and it is more than 1 or 2, quite a number, and they said I'm cancelling my pro because they were subscribing for pro for the games. And I don't think the games are... how can I say this nicely, are resonating with people that well. And especially with the competition now heating up, I know you were having a bit of a rant about Luna earlier. I think Luna's games are probably more exciting for people during the month, and xCloud is xCloud. I think Stadia is in a bit of a pickle with their pro membership now, and I think they really need to start having a serious look at it to see how it's going to go down, because then pro games aren't going to sell people to come to the platform. But I will end on a positive, and I say if you have not played Moonlighter, go and play Moonlighter. I think it is a class Wii game, so go play that. But I think the Stadia Pro games are very the contrasts are going to be there with xCloud going forward now, because of where xCloud is now for a lot of people.
True. Just real quick, GTP, can you answer this? Can adaptive Vsync work on the Shield TV?
I haven't gone and checked it yet, so
Okay.
I don't want to say for sure. I know most app features do work on the Shield TV, but I haven't tried it out yet.
Okay. Cool. And Duncan, thanks for your take on Google Stadia Pro games. How about you, Hellmonkey? Did you claim any of these?
Yeah, so I claimed them all when we made the video, and I put some time into them all. The less said about Terraria for me, the better. I still don't know what to do in that game. Like, it's just nothing. I flew a kite for like 5 minutes and killed a rabbit. What to do after that, I don't know. That game's just not my cup of tea. And I had some trouble. I've always had trouble using keyboard and mouse on Stadia for some reason. But Dark Side Detective, great wee game. You can jump in and out of that, do the case files. It's point and click. The humour's it's pretty funny. I laughed out loud a couple of times. Street Power Football, the less said about that, the better as well. That game is running like it's just so bad. It's dead blocky and it's not smooth, and it's just not a well optimized game in my opinion. Moonlighter's a highlight. It's a good wee game, but I can see where everyone's coming from. The Stadia Pro games, they go through. If you're subscribing to Pro just for the games, the last couple of months haven't been good. And then we had the month where we had Resident Evil, and was it Ease, one of the Ease games, Trails of Cold Steel, and that great month. But then we had to go back to the beginning of the year before we got like what you would call good games, sort of AA type games.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they need to. The advantage Stadia's got is when you claim the games, you always have them. They're not going to leave,
It's
right?
true. Yep.
That's great. I think that's really good. And they're there. If you cancel your sub and then you come back a month later, they're still there. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I just think they need to up the quantity, up the quality of the games. I don't mind old games coming, because an old game that you've not played isn't an old game. Yeah, like we always say, Stadia needs more games. I think they need to see if they build up that pro library with some really good cracking games. Like, you look at the amount of games that GeForce Now get, and all the reviews are really good. They're really positive. If Stadia can fill up that pro library with some of these games, they could be onto something, and offering something different other than a subscription where the games are going to leave. Yeah, not a good month for me, but
okay.
I think it's actually worth noting what games have actually left. So if you're joining Stadia now and you're going to subscribe to Stadia Pro now, if I said these games, you would be saying an absolutely bonkers sort of month for Stadia. The games which have left are SteamWorld Dig 2, Ari and the Secret of the Season, SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom, I'm calling it Pikachu, and Resident Evil 7 have all left this month near Stadia Pro. So if you're joining now,
wow.
if that was Stadia Pro for this month, you would be saying this is an absolutely.
Yeah.
If I was a new pro subscriber and saw that, the games leaving versus the games being added, I would not be happy with that.
That's a great point. I didn't realize all those are really good games leaving pro
Like,
members, and then
X-
you
X-
get in,
Xbox lost a few good games on Game Pass,
They did,
but
they
they've
did.
replaced it with some good games. Like they're not,
Wait,
it's not unbalancing it. Well, like the games coming out in the next couple of months and stuff, like there's good stuff coming. Whereas with Stadia, like games to pro that are coming, we don't know. Like we know a couple coming a couple months from now, but they didn't really catch my eye.
yeah. So yeah, I agree. I agree. And normally, I'm excited for pro games, but realistically, I guess if you're an indie person, right, these games will probably, they probably should have titled this like the month for indie pro games, because these games are really powerful indie games, I would say, right? But if you're looking, I think what Stadia Pro tries to do is like every month they offer like a AA, AAA game with pro members, and it looks like this month is Street Power Football. Maybe if they would have put a different game instead of that, I think it would have been a good, I guess, round of games. But yeah, Street Power Football is not the best games, and then all the other indie games, and then like Duncan was saying, when you compare it to what left, yeah, overall for pro games, I would agree it's not the best month for that. But yeah, anyone else want to add anything to the pro games? If not, we're gonna move to Rainbow Six.
I just want to take that comment from Ron there, who really gets Stadia Pro for the games. And I'm going to tell you there is an absolute mountain of people buy Stadia Pro for the games because they don't have 4K sets and things like that. The Stadia Pro games are an add-on to it. This is why I think the Stadia Pro model needs to be changed, because people are getting it for the games and they're not seeing the value there anymore. I think that's why it sort of needs to be talked about. Before, a couple of months ago, 3-4 months ago, yes, I was completely on that sort of thing. For me, I was playing Stadia Pro for the 4K. That's sort of gone now with all the other services now running a lot better. Something needs to go. I think something needs to be updated with it.
Yeah, see, here's my take on this as well. If I buy a game on Steam, right? So there's a platform I can buy games on, and I run it on my PC. If I have a 4K screen, I can run that game in 4K. I don't need to pay any extra for it. But Stadia want to charge me, 10 quid a month for 4K in games, which in some instances the 4K doesn't look as good as some other places at 1080.
But is the only cloud gaming service, to be fair, that does offer 4K though.
Yeah,
right?
For
look,
now.
That's great.
Right.
No, that's fantastic. But I don't think I should be getting charged for that.
Are they prepared? Do they have a plan for when Luna flips the switch and adds 4K and will most likely not charge any extra?
So let me ask
Right.
you guys this question, because this question kind of blew my mind. So who has the best cloud gaming service right now?
Depends on your perspective.
Nope.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nope. When it comes to performance, right?
Nobody.
When it comes to like an overall package right now, I want you guys to know. You guys got to give me an answer. You can't say zero GTP. Like, who would you say?
I've been waiting.
out
Look,
of
first,
all
I
this
want to
out
say
right
something
now?
about the pro thing anyway. So
Yeah.
I'll do a quick thing on that, and whatever. We'll answer the top dog question for cloud. But
All right.
the issues with pro are, number one, the games that leave. They don't leave after you claim them, sure, but they leave to where new people can't claim them, and that's just dumb. If somebody came on to sign on to pro and all the games that had ever been claimable by everybody pro, that would be a huge advantage. If you saw this page that said claim all, and all of a sudden for $10 you could play all these games.
But everyone does that though. Like PlayStation, right? Their gold, whatever it's called, they have a monthly rotation.
Sure, but Stadia is in a different situation where they're needing to draw people in. So that's
not
kind of a
fair.
different. It's true.
They're trying to fill
have
out
those
their
live renew.
library.
So like
Yeah.
my buddy who has just started looking at cloud, he was like, "Oh, I can get SpongeBob for my boy. I can get this." I said, "No, that's like when you become new pro, you can't get this. There's some pro games I don't have from a couple months because of that kind of situation." Now the other thing is, if Xbox or PlayStation were charging you additional to play your games in 4K, everybody would be up in arms. So cloud gaming is going to be no different. I very much predict that as xCloud and Luna and eventually PlayStation, everybody gets on board with cloud and they offer 4K, there will be no additional charges for that because the games don't charge you additional to play in 4K. They already come in 4K. So that's going to be going to the wayside eventually anyway. Stadia can't keep charging for resolution. It's just very annoying to me that they do that.
Okay, so how
I mean,
about
that's
then?
part of the reason I canceled Pro this month
Okay,
is because HDR doesn't work on the Shield TV, and I
Pro.
want
They
that
have
to
a
be
horrible
my main.
rollout of their Android TV.
I want
app.
that to be my main device for Stadia. So I just, until then, like that was the core value because the games don't have value to me on Stadia Pro.
Okay, I'm going to stick up for yes here. Yes, I completely
Yeah,
get that. Yeah, PlayStation games leave. Yes, my thing about it is, I think Stadia Pro is starting to look. It's starting to lose its value just with the other services out there. But I completely get with the games rotate in and out and you claim it, and that in some ways that is a better sort of model, but I don't think Stadia is in the position for that as yet because I haven't built up they're in. I hate using these flipping terms. They're user acquisition phase, and they really need to really push it there. But I don't have a issue per se of games rotating out after the claimant. I just think the whole pro setup needs to be changed. I just think
We've all agreed that the pro model doesn't work anymore, one way or another.
but so okay, what did we get for the month of March for Pro? When did we get Resident Evil?
That was April.
March.
April.
That was March.
Oh, it was April. You're right.
because Village came out in
Was
May.
it April?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was April.
Okay, so we got Star Wars and we got Resident Evil for Pro games for the month of April. You would say that was a pretty solid week for Pro.
Yeah, that's what I said. The last couple of months were good. Yeah.
So we
But-
can't like bash them for one bad month, y'all. Like,
No, we're seeing more competition come up, which makes you change your perspective on the value of what they're offering to the gamer.
Luna?
Which
About
I think Luna's value is
About-
absolutely there.
it's fantastic. The $6 a month for what you get on the Luna Plus channel is absolutely phenomenal, and what they're doing over there. GFN, of course, is doing good with their stuff. I think it's just what Duncan was saying was Pro is losing its shiny a little bit. It's getting a little dull when you look at competition starting to change and the value of what you get for your dollar. And if other services are soon to do things like turn on 4K and have more content and things like that and not charge you more for certain things, it will look even less good for Pro. So Stadia does need to revamp the Pro subscription in some way or another.
okay. So
here's
back to
the
my
thing with
original-
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Resident
go
Evil.
ahead.
You said that's a
Uh-huh.
great game, great get
Uh-huh.
for Stadia Pro. Why have
Right.
they dropped it already? Because they dropped that this month, right?
Yeah.
They dropped it already, but I can play it on Luna or I can play it on Game Pass. So what's making me want to stay on Stadia? Like that's the thing. Like they're dropping a relevant game. Yes, it's an older game, but it's still kind of relevant, especially considering that the new one came out and people are still replaying it. But their competitors still have it up and aren't dropping it.
True, but the competitors are offering subscription models, right? And the Stadia's the store. Let's
that goes back to the Stadia Pro. It's starting to lose its value because that is a subscription, and when you start comparing, that's where it gets all. I think there is an absolute place for Stadia and its business model. I just think Pro just needs to be revamped somehow.
And
In my
I
opinion-
agree. When you look at the competition, yes, right. The subscription stuff is starting to come to life with Luna and Game Pass. I get that, but still,
Here's the thing. Like most of the good games that I've been interested in on Stadia Pro are also on other services. Like
yeah.
they have games coming to Pro, sure, but they're mostly games that I don't really care to play. The ones that I care to play are in other places too. So where's that as a value to me as a customer, or to other people that have multiple subscription services? Like, where's the originality? Where's the games that nobody else is getting? Like,
All right.
when you have,
Okay, so realistically, are you playing these games on Luna though?
I am now.
Okay, let's just be real, right? Back to my original question, pound for pound, right now, who has the best cloud? Who rules the cloud right now? And you can't GTP. I saw you saying 0. No, you got to give me something, because I think we need to put this a little bit in perspective.
I'll go.
Who?
I'll go. I don't mind. I don't mind saying
Yeah,
it,
go
please.
ahead.
It's all down to perspective, I think, and what you want.
Mhm.
You know, you can't just definitively say that one is better than the other, because
Okay,
you know,
when it comes to performance, I think, yes, I get it. Connection data is different for everyone, but realistically, when connections some point, performance wise, who has the best tech right now in the cloud?
for
I
me,
don't.
GeForce Now.
Really?
Yeah, it runs better. It runs the best for me.
I can give you an order if you want.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
I go GFM first, xCloud second for me now, Stadia in third.
Performance wise, latency wise, you
Yes,
think xCloud is above?
I have shown that xCloud works better for me than Stadia, and I can put the videos up again. It's you may not believe that, and that is the nature of cloud gaming. And
See, yeah, no. Here's a problem as well. It's just because xCloud performs best for you doesn't mean to say that that is the definitive arrangement for everyone else.
So is the
I said that
question what
earlier.
for us personally is working better in our exact setup right now, or is the question overall worldwide who's king? Because there is no worldwide king of cloud.
So
No.
It doesn't
I want
exist.
personally. I want
Okay.
personally. Yeah.
Personally, before xCloud, Stadia had the best latency and stream quality for me with the worst content. Since the upgrades, most games now, like Dirt 5 and stuff, have better latency for me than Stadia. Stadia has less bitrate issues and stays cleaner looking in Dirt 5, but the latency for me is tons better on xCloud now since the upgrade than Stadia. I've been putting many hours into both of those this week. Gears 5 has become phenomenal for me on xCloud, but I do know a couple of other people it's still horrible. But for me, it's like, holy crap. That's why I put up that video this morning, because I was playing last night and just hit record because I couldn't believe it. But there's other games on there that perform poorly. You know, but that's with every cloud. Stadia has games that perform better than others, GFN and so forth. But if I'm doing an order right now, xCloud and GFN are right there for me in a lot of my performance, especially if I'm playing adaptive sync for latency. And then Stadia is just right there, hovering under them right now for me in my area, for what I'm experiencing for my cloud gaming. And this is why I harp on, I'm tired of people saying, for me, this works a certain way, so for everyone it must. No, that's not the case with cloud. This isn't back in the day when you went to your boy's house and saw a piece of hardware working, you went and bought the same thing and it worked the same. That's not cloud. If it works great for you, great. It may not for your neighbor, it may not for your friend or someone else. Everybody needs to go try all the cloud services and see what works for them, and the one that works for them is the king of cloud right now.
I agree 100%.
absolutely,
I need to come to y'all's house because I have a pretty good connection, and most of the people that I've,
You're 2,400 miles away from me, which is great because we have different experiences, and that's the point.
No, exactly. But I would have to say, based on my experience and most of the people that I've give access to test cloud gaming platforms and services, it's not even a question as to whose tech is better. Like they're like, GeForce Now normally comes second, right? Even with xCloud's update, I had friends and family testing. They're like, still not even close. But yeah, it's quite interesting.
That's why everyone needs to be open-minded and just listen to everybody's input, and just not get so defensive if someone says your platform's not working for me. That's okay. When it comes to cloud, that's the way it's going to be for different people. And I'll tell you what, next month, something else might work better for me. This has happened the past
True.
year and a half of me testing cloud, where my opinion changes as upgrades happen and tech changes and games come out, and you've got to be willing to go with the waves and go with the flow of cloud and enjoy it and stop judging everybody for what does and doesn't work for them.
Right. So we're gonna move on, but I'm gonna go back to that original question, and you guys started answering. But when it comes to right now, not features coming, not what Luna can do or xCloud, who do you think right now is king of cloud? And I want answers from all you guys, if you can.
There is no king because there is no kingdom. Like it's you can't
Stop
you
with the
can't have a
philosophy,
king
bro.
over a
Like,
kingdom that
We're
doesn't
killing
really
Ace. We are
exist.
killing Ace
just give me an
Look,
answer.
Ace,
man.
just like I said
Jeez
earlier,
Louise.
in an order, for me, xCloud, GFN,
Okay.
Stadia, but they are
Got
all so
that.
close. Let me tell you, they all do work really well for me. But if it's for me as the whole package, latency, games to choose from, the whole deal, GFN, xCloud are right there. I think right now xCloud's a little above GFN for me, and then Stadia if it's the 3, and then Luna because they're, they have longer to go. But if I have to answer your question, that's for me, xCloud would be my king today, I guess, and then GFN and Stadia. But please don't take that as, oh my God, he's saying xCloud works so much better than Stadia, because that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I
But the games I want
would
to play are
agree.
there.
I would agree with Jerry on that one. Like Stadia used to work great for me. And about 4 or 5 months ago, I don't know if my ISP changed a configuration or something, and Stadia didn't keep up. And before you guys bombard the chat, because I've seen this question tons of time on my Twitter, well, did you check this? Did you do your port forwarding? Did you do that? That's not the point of cloud gaming. Like, I can do that. The point is I refuse to, because if I do that, I am taking away the magic of cloud gaming.
Man, you don't
Most
gotta
people
get
won't
all
jump through the hoops we will.
Ben, you know what I'm saying, Ben? Just you don't gotta get deep with it, bro. Ben is saying you get deep with the
Cloud
questions,
gaming
bro.
is supposed to be easy and accessible and play anywhere. That's the point. Like, it's not supposed to be, I'm going to try the best I can to get the maximum resolution on every device at the best performance. Cloud gaming is just supposed to work. And Stadia kind of quit working for me about 4 months ago.
True. So that's what makes this conversation interesting, because the GTP, I think you said it right. So for me right now, hands down, and people that I do know and I've gave access to test all of these services, hands down, Stadia runs the best. Stadia, to them, they feel like it can actually even replace the consoles. That's how good performance-wise it is for them. And me, as you guys know, I only have the cloud. I don't have any physical console by choice. And to me, I would have to say, and we'll get to Xbox Cloud Gaming in a bit, but I still think after that update, I haven't tested Vsync yet, but I have to do that. But realistically, it's only 2 games supporting that right now. So to me personally, hands down, Stadia right now is my preferred. If I want to play a game in the cloud, is Stadia has it, I'm going there. Again, you have 4K, and performance-wise for me, it runs the best. It really does.
I'm just going to add something here. This is where this sort of talk can get you into sort of trouble. I think we see it in the chat. For me, I still say GFN, Xbox, and then Stadia. If I was to give an order on what I would tell people to play it in, if you want to try cloud gaming, I would give the order of Stadia, Xbox, then GFN.
But why?
Because of the Stadia is.
Luck.
Wait, what?
Because of your chances of it running well in your area.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, but you asked how does it run for us right now in my area, in my connection. GFM works best, then Xbox.
No. Okay,
you see, there's 2 different questions there.
True. But go with what you were saying, Duncan, because I feel like you were going somewhere. If you were to recommend cloud gaming to someone, you said you choose Stadia. Why is that?
Stadia is the one at this moment in time. Xbox is nearly there. If they have Xbox Game Pass, you could probably tell them to go and give that a try. But if you're just coming completely into gaming, I think Stadia is probably the one with you here. Just clicking this wee link and sign yourself up here, and away you go. I think that That is where they are, but the other services are catching up really, really quickly.
Okay.
Again, see, there's lots of. This is why these sort of discussions are class, because there's so many things you can actually go into and change it over.
But
over
no,
Cloud is
time.
deep.
realistically, though, one of the reasons I brought this question up is because I've heard the majority of you guys in this panel say just what you said, Duncan. Like, when it comes to recommending someone to cloud, you guys will choose Stadia. And to me, if you're choosing Stadia over anything else, it shows that, I mean, there's a reason why you're choosing Stadia over the rest, wouldn't you say?
See,
Here's the way I see it. Cloud gaming is supposed to be easy to use. If we're talking about ease of use, my number 2 recommendations, or my 2 top recommendations, are going to be Stadia and xCloud, not necessarily in that order. If somebody has owned an Xbox at any time in the past, xCloud is going to be super easy for them to use because it's a familiar format and the layout and everything. If they've been a PlayStation user, same thing. They're going to see that Xbox format and they're going to be comfortable with it because it's going to be a console familiar experience. Stadia, for somebody that's never had any of it, super easy to use, like design, layout wise, everything. Like they're great. There's some improvements they could do, especially with the Stadia menu and button being all laggy. If you have more than like 30 friends, it's that part's trash. But as far as being easy to use, easy to run, simple, I would say, yeah, those. But to Duncan's tagline for the last year, content is key. And because of that,
no. Okay, I'm sorry.
You're talking about King. You're talking about easy. I said there's no kingdom yet, so we can't really talk about King. But Duncan always says content is key, and Stadia doesn't have the key. So to me, I don't know. Like,
wait.
Xbox is catching up real fast with performance.
Catching up. Who has Resident Evil 8 on any other platform though? Who has Judgment?
Boosteroid.
Come on, dude.
Okay.
I really care about those games.
Right here.
See, this is why what really frustrates me when, if you're going to shout out games, I'm going to shout out who has Halo, who has Forza Horizon, who, you know where I'm going with that. This is why you can't. Exclusive games are going to matter, and we're going back down to this rabbit hole.
We're not doing. Yeah, we're not talking. We're talking about right now at the moment.
Right now.
As I've talked about in comments, you cannot use a single game to judge any platform anyway, regardless as to its performance or its existence on that platform, because cloud has such a messed up library of games. They're like, if you're used to gaming on console or PC and getting access to every game that comes out, and you say, let me go check out cloud, you will quickly find out that every cloud service is missing tons and tons of games. So before you even try any of them, you need to go look at all the libraries online first and see what games are offered, and it won't take you long. There's only so many games on each one. You check it out, and that will answer your question first of which cloud you want to try, is which one has the games you want. Because I don't care about Resident Evil 8. Somebody else might. I care about Gears 5 or Forza. Somebody else might. Pulling out games in that conversation doesn't really do anything when it's just talking about the platform as a whole, unless we're going to list them all next to each other and then really like go down through it. But that's a huge debate of game quality and choice.
If you're going to do that, who has Biomutant?
Woo!
Just GFN.
Come on, though. Let's. If you Metacritic, hold on. If you Metacritic Biomutant compared to Resident Evil 8 though, and Judgment.
I love Biomutant way better.
Come on, you can't compare Resident Evil to Biomutant.
That's what I'm saying, though. He's saying who has Biome, saying who has Resident Evil, who has Judgment. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. It's on what games you want to play. You know, Resident Evil isn't just anything for me, but Biomutant did.
So
Stadia has Judgment. But who has the rest of Yakuza? Who has any Yakuza?
Luna has 0. Anyway,
Luna has Yakuza 0.
All right, so we gotta cover xCloud here in a bit, but I just think it's interesting how most of you guys all said you would recommend Stadia out of all of them to someone who's just getting
that wasn't your question though.
But that wasn't your question. See,
No, it wasn't
That
my
doesn't
question,
make it top
but
because it's still not top. It
that-
still doesn't make it the king of the castle. But if you're trying to get people to try stuff, first of all, never try one, but you might start with Stadia. I can't say start with any of them. I still think you need to go look at all the games first, and then whichever one has the games you want, try that one, and so on. But
guys.
I'm going to give you something here. Here's I can change it even completely different. If you're saying a brand new gamer who wants to try games in the cloud, never played games, I would say Xbox, because they've got more easier to get into games. I think that's something where Stadia really needs to up their market, is some real absolute easy games which are not multiplayer, just single player games where people can just jump into them. I think that is something where they are missing. They've got some great party games there, but no games for people to actually experience it. I could talk about all this all day. This is the sort of stuff
we can all talk about it all day.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move. We still have a lot to talk about when it comes to. So again, shout out to Stadia. This is the first time we saw them do this, right? A big game like Rainbow Six Siege released on the platform, and can we call it PR or just marketing,
Social
right?
media.
I would just say their
Social
community
media.
managers. Their community managers were just more active
Yeah.
in the community.
Yeah,
That they were showing a presence.
yeah.
Granted, it was just the day that Rainbow Six Siege launched, and it kind of died off immediately after that. But they were jumping in all the live streams, and that was
Yeah,
great. They should do
that
that
was
way
awesome.
more often.
That's awesome. So that's what I want to highlight here. Again, I know some of them watch this, so keep it up. Grace, keep it up. Whoever who's watching, that is what needs to happen more. It was really cool. And not only was it good, first of all, to get Stadia's name out there, second of all, to get a game, right? A decent game highlighted. But third of all, you brought a lot of attention to content creators. And again, I don't know about you guys, but it feels good to know that when you put in the work, in a way, you're appreciated for the work that you put in. And I know that those people who were highlighted were appreciated. So this needs to happen more. Amazon is killing it. We talked about this 2 podcasts ago. GeForce Now, you saw what Curry did with Cloudy's stream, right? Hopping in, you seen them always communicating with content creators. Y'all have to do more of that, and it was pretty awesome to see. So we're just gonna open that segment up. Anyone can hop on, just give your take on it before we move to Rainbow Six Siege.
And it was great. I saw Grace jumping in on multiple streams back and forth. She played with Meg for a while. That was awesome. Like actually jumped in and played with her. She was playing with Bill and Lloyd, or watching them play. I don't know if she was actually playing with them from Nerd Nest. So she was all over the place. I did think it was funny. Totally, slightly different topic, but there were a ton of PC players that created new profiles on Stadia launch day, making fun of Stadia, trolling it. Like anytime you had a fail, they would jump on and call you Stadia trash. That was kind of funny, kind of uncalled for, kind of mean, but that was kind of I saw several of those in people's live streams.
Yeah, I heard a little of what you said, but I'm so for it. 100%.
I was just talking about there were a few trolls on Stadia launch day that created new accounts, PC players, making fun of Stadia.
Of course. Who else want to add to just the community stepping up for the launch of Rainbow Six Siege for Stadia?
It's something I have been calling for I do not know how long. Basically, since Stadia has launched, I hope this is a step forward and it's not a one-off.
Yeah.
They could have, like Stadia Super Saturday, they could have got involved in that because that was 24 hours of Stadia content. They could have got promoted that a wee tad, but I'm really happy that eventually they are doing it, and let's just pray it's not this just because it's Rainbow Six Siege, because there should be games every week. They should be pushing out there, and it's great to see that people are getting pushed. Let's just hope it continues.
Yeah, I agree. Anyone else want to add to that before we move on to Rainbow Six Siege? All right, so it is Rainbow Sixes. So this released this week. I would say it's a good port. It runs pretty well. I can just read the mind of GTP in chief when I say that it was a good port. But anyway, I thought it was a good port. Again, this guy here owns no console by choice, and cloud gaming is my preferred way of playing. Again, I've played Siege and Luna. I've played it on GeForce Now. And I feel like Stadia runs it just as good. And again, you have the 4K, if you want to call it that. Even though some people would say it's like upscale. I get it. I get it. To me, it looks good on my TV. Let's just say all of that. So to me, I thought the experience was great. But like I said earlier, my biggest complaint is when you go to crossplay, you're playing with PC players who are on keyboard and mouse, and you're just at a disadvantage. I used to be quite decent at this game on the PS4 because I was playing against other PS4 players, but I was getting my behind whooped. And it got to the point where I got so frustrated I wanted to like break my controller. But overall, I think it's a good port. But let's check in with the panel, see what people have to say about this game. So let's start with Duncan. Did you play this game, and what's your take on what you've heard so far about it?
Oh, I'm just going to put this out here now. If you're watching this live, you've got half an hour to actually buy it at that great price. So it's yes. I've just seen that. I've been getting warning messages that you've only got hours to pay it before it goes. I did not.
Wait,
Where are you getting these messages?
Oh, on Twitter. I multitask. I'm skillful.
Oh, I thought you had like a direct line into the Stadia team.
So
there.
you have a certain time frame for the sale?
No, the sale. Apparently, you've only got like half an hour left before the sale is over, unless I'm getting wrong messages here.
Huh. Well, it's good to know. If you want Sage, you better hop on to that. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like okay.
I did not buy it. I hate Sage. I'm just going to put it out there. It's not my game at all. And
they're saying the sale is gone, by the way, ended at 11 p.m.
It ended. So, sorry about that. I was wrong. I was half an hour out. Sorry, but yeah, with that, I'm not a big Rainbow Six Siege fan. I was tempted to get it at that price. Obviously, I don't have that choice anymore. But it's if you're into Rainbow Six Siege, go buy it. The deluxe edition. The deluxe edition is still on sale, not the super duper edition. I'm assuming all the mega sales are gone now. So again, I think it's good that it's came, and that's all you can say. It's a key game. It is one of these key games that we talk about. It has got a large following, and it should be on Stadia. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's not a game for me, but it's one of these games that need to be on Stadia.
Yeah. We've said Stadia needs competitive shooters like PUBG. I would not consider competitive. So this is like the one true competitive shooter on the platform. So it's good. It's good. How about you, GTP? What's your take on that? Y'all close. So look, if you're a Stadia fan, just disclaimer.
No, it's good. No, we're good.
Ears.
Look, there's plenty of Stadia fans in the chat. I can tell you that because I've been watching everything everybody said, and it's funny because some of it's the kind of stuff I've already said don't say. It's ridiculous. But look, Rainbow Six Siege on Stadia is awesome. It's awesome that they've got the game over there with Ubisoft subscription. I didn't need to worry about the sale ending or buying it. It was already there for me day one. And what I really like about the version they got is it's the one with all the unlock, the ultimate or whatever with the subscription. So I get on there and I can pick any tune I want to. You know, if I jump on xCloud, one complaint I have is I don't have anything but the standard on there. So I would have to go through and earn those, all the different characters that are not already opened up. It's not a big thing, but it was really cool that they had that over on Stadia ready to go. So it made it nicer for everyone to jump in, and it felt less grindy to start unlocking everything. So that was nice. In typical Stadia fashion, the stream's nice and clean for Siege. The only issue I had in it, and I showed it in my video, it wasn't huge, and I know almost everybody else I've talked to that played it gets the little micro stutters. it's getting better, but there's like these little tiny judders. It's nothing like Outriders or anything like a broken release, but it's just these little ones. And sometimes if you're like headshotting at someone, it'll be just this little bit enough that in a sweaty shooter like that, it's definitely not a casual player's game. In a competitive, sweaty shooter like that, I don't really like to see that. But it's not game breaking. It's not like the Outriders thing. I don't want to bash it too hard because for the most part, it ran pretty good. It was running 51 FPS to 60 FPS for most of the time I was playing it, with around 28 milliseconds latency in the game. Over on xCloud, we're 120 to 180 FPS I hit at one point when I was around 9 milliseconds latency. So for me, particularly in my area, it's working better on xCloud right now by just a little bit. But the stream is still a lot cleaner and less pixelated over on Stadia. But I can play slightly better over on xCloud right now. But I think it's a great get for them on Stadia. I don't have any really big complaints about it other than that little judder that it has, for some of the performance there for a get on cloud. It's really good. But again, like I said before, crossplay is going to be rough. This is a sweaty game that people take very, very seriously. If you jump into this thinking it's a casual shooter, it's not casual.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, you talk about anxiety level, man. Controllers will break, man. Just throw that out there right now for that. Ben, what's your take on this, man? Did you play it?
I did not play the game. No, I've played it in the past a little bit, not a lot. No, I mean, it looks cool, but it's just not really my type of game. I do have it on Ubisoft Plus, so I didn't buy it or anything. I've played it on GeForce Now, and I've played it on Xbox since it's a Game Pass as well. But yeah, I haven't tried it on Stadia yet.
Okay.
I did
Fair
see
enough.
what Jerry was talking about. I saw a lot of micro stutters in a lot of people's streams. Alex from Nimbus Cloud Gaming is the only one that I saw that did have a clean stream with no micro stutters. But everybody else that I saw all had micro stutters.
So it's quite interesting. I wonder if that's stream related because I don't experience that when playing. So I wonder, like, if streaming the game. Anyway, I don't know.
I had trouble proving if it was the stream or the game, but the more I kept trying to investigate it, I will say I was leaning toward it being a stutter in the game render itself on the server side, like on the hardware side, and not so much a stream stutter because I was trying to monitor the stream as well. But you're right, it's very hard to tell on that one, and it's not happening for everyone. From my looking, it's like half people are getting it and half the people aren't.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with bugs and weird performance things, though. It usually doesn't hit everybody.
True. All right, Monkey, let's get your take on this before we move on to xCloud.
Yeah, I jumped in to check it out. Yeah, I had the wee micro stutters as well. I absolutely hate the game.
You love Siege.
It's the sweatiest, most diabolically hardcore, toxic game I have ever played, man. It is those PC players are ridiculous. Like,
I keep getting team killed for doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
that's one game I would not play. I would not play on the cloud since cloud links to PC players. If I were to play that game, I would play it on my Xbox because then I'm at least like at level with the other people, and the toxicity seems to be a little less. But yeah, PC players take that game way too seriously.
This is the thing with Stadia. It needs crossplay, but I don't want to play against PC players in a game like that. I don't want to play against PC players in any type of game where I am at a severe disadvantage. Because it just doesn't. It makes a game unfun. You know, there's no fun when you ain't on a level playing field.
Unfortunately, because Stadia does offer mouse and keyboard support for most of the games, they get shut out of the console crossplay most of the time, and they get stuck with PC crossplay, like with ESO and other games, and it causes them I'd much rather see them crossplay with consoles than PC. But
yeah, I think we could all sort of agree on that. That's good. Yeah, but no, like the game, you know, I wouldn't expect it to run poorly. The game's very old now. It's not like it's relying on the most, you know, powerful hardware required. It's not doing a lot. You know, the graphic fidelity in that isn't as demanding, as say what Rainbow Six Extraction is going to be, I expect that to be a much more detailed game. It certainly looks that way. I think that will be a good test
Yeah.
when that comes.
I think this game, like playing it again, really gets me excited for Extraction because I don't know, like again, this game is really competitive, but being able
PvE,
to,
but siege
yeah,
style is.
yeah,
It's gonna be fun.
it's
Yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
like the terrorist hunt was a mode in Rainbow Six Siege that I really enjoyed playing, and so this is kind of like it with more objective, and it looks really fun. So I'm definitely gonna be picking that up for sure. All right, let's move to xCloud. As you guys know, the Series X Blade was officially announced, but this is custom. This actually was quite interesting to me. It's not like the official Series X Blade; it's a custom blade, right? So we're not seeing the Series X like performance with xCloud right now. They did say eventually they do plan on updating the blades, so we might see better performance. But Xbox Cloud Gaming is what it's called now. It's only 1080p and max FPS can push is 60. Now, most of the games have been updated to support this, but there's still some games performance-wise it's just not up to par. So just want to check in with the panel. Me personally, I thought it was so cool how overnight you saw like instant upgrades to the games. I mean, like I was on vacation, heard about it, went on, tested it. I was like, wow, this is definitely a lot better. I thought that was cool, but honestly speaking, I'm not too happy with the perform. I was just expecting more with the Series X Blade, and I don't know how long it's going to be before they update it again. I think we'll get this 1080 60 for probably to the end of this year, possibly next year as well.
Didn't they promise 4K by the end of the year?
Where
Yes.
did you see that? Who? Where?
Yes.
Who
This
did?
has been talked about many times by Phil Spencer. I don't have a link to the articles, but they've been talking all year about trying to push out 4K xCloud by the end of the year, but it was not a guaranteed thing, but it is a goal that they're trying to get to.
Yeah, that's
the
what I
current
thought.
blades they're upgrading to, the custom Series X blades are custom for all kinds of reasons, but especially because they need to be able to stream better than our regular consumer type console here. The blades built a little bit differently, but essentially the same hardware. There's no porting. So the hardware is identical enough that the games just come over. The current blades they're upgrading to can do the 4K with no problem. The 12 teraflop Series X custom blades they're putting in, they just don't have them everywhere yet. They're building new data centers and they're rolling them out to more data centers. That's another reason why the experience is so hit and miss. I feel like I've connected closer recently, but the first week I know for a fact I was connecting 3,000 miles away in California, and my latency was still so much better, but I could tell I was farther away. So there's a lot going on with that yet. But if they make their goal by, say, November, December to get more blades out and to get the streaming ready for 4K, they could make their goal by the end of the year, because with Halo Infinite coming and Forza Horizon 5 and stuff, they may be trying to push to that 4K, and we know Luna's bringing it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another overnight improvement and you go wow, and then another one and you go wow, because like me and Gamer TV and people have said, catching up the tech is so much easier than the content. Trust me, Microsoft is hard at work over the next 6 to 12 months.
I'm starting
to
to have a hard time with that. I
Well,
get
and then
the saying, but
another
no,
game
just,
that they're bringing,
uh-huh.
like another game that's coming to Game Pass or coming to console this month is Flight Simulator. And I think that's coming to xCloud by the end of the year or early next year as well. And that's a really heavy, like resource heavy game. So seeing that on xCloud, like the fact they're bringing it to it means that they've got more coming to performance upgrades. While they've rolled out the new blades, there's still more work that they're doing on. It's not a one and done kind of situation.
There's essentially three prongs. So I watch like every Phil Spencer interview. It's just I really enjoy Xbox. I follow all that. There's like a three-pronged thing. First was content. That's something they've been working on for years, and that problem's solved. Games are in the pipeline. Good ones are coming. Game Pass is coming to fruition. Over 24 million subs. xCloud's coming. It's all coming to fruition. So that's doing its thing. The next thing for their cloud was to upgrade the hardware. That was the second part. So get the hardware done. The third prong is the streaming tech that ties into that that hardware. So they're in hardware phase now, getting that out and giving us those improvements as fast as they can. But next will be the tech improvement coming on top of that. But these blades you see going in will more than do the job for probably the next 5 years with no problem. The Series X is by far the most powerful piece of hardware you're going to deal with in the cloud right now. Those custom Series X blades can't be touched by any other cloud piece of hardware right now, other than a 2080 in GFN.
So I'll be real. That's kind of where, I don't know. That's where I'm struggling.
Just from a hardware standpoint, from numbers, from facts.
True,
the Series X blades are above anything that Stadia or PS Now has right now, or anybody else.
Okay.
Their capabilities, their ray tracing cores, their direct velocity architecture for putting games right into GPU and skipping CPU, all the upgrades that the Series X has is the best hardware in the cloud right now, besides possibly a 2080 rig in GFN, but it's even rivaling a lot of that.
Okay. So I get, so again, when you're looking at the hardware, right, spec number wise, you compare Series X to what Google Stadia has in cloud, you're like, spec wise is better. But then I think something that, you know, without taking into consideration is the infrastructure that Google has, right? So yes, they might have like the least amount of, you know, spec-wise numbers with the graphics card, but I feel like the engineers that work at Google might have figured out the secret sauce to get cloud gaming to run as well as
No, I don't think so. I've talked to a lot of different developers about the secret sauce thing, and it's not so much a secret sauce. All these companies know what the other company's doing. They know what their tech is. They know how it's running. They've reversed engineered. They've done all the things that you need to do to know that. But they're behind Stadia in the streaming tech part of it, but that'll be caught up too.
Stadia has the better codecs and the better compression.
So
that's what they're winning on.
Right. GTP, that's a great question. Said how long?
Because they will catch up. Stadia will never stay. No company will always stay on top forever. And other companies will catch up to their tech in streaming and surpass it.
Here's the deal. I give Microsoft to the end of this year. If
you're always with your time frames.
If
cloud, you got years yet. We are 10 years away from cloud being mainstream.
If they cannot catch Stadia by the end of the, I mean, that's what they promised. Series X Blade 4K end of this year.
No.
Listen, I'm giving them by the end of this year. If the end of this year comes, you have the big hitters with Halo Infinite, you have the new Forza, you have Flight Simulator. If the tech still runs like crap, guys, like, come on. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
So you're saying you give them to the end of the year. What if come March, they're like leaps and bounds ahead of Stadia tech wise, like they're working perfectly.
We'll reevaluate that because I'm sure Stadia is not gonna just sleep on Microsoft making improvements as well. But
I'm just wondering what the prize is if they get it at the end of the year versus if they don't.
They'll get me to play more on xCloud because right now
I'm going to be telling you something. You're going to be playing a hell of a lot more in xCloud and Stadia by the end of the year. I can guarantee it.
I'll be 100% real. I got really excited with that update. You guys, I was talking to you guys in the group chat, and I got excited. And then I came home and I really put it to the test, and I was just like, all right, be real with me, y'all, because I see this and a lot of people see this. Xbox Cloud Gaming is really grainy. I don't know what it is with the visuals. Performance-wise, latency, it picked up a lot. I give them that 100%. But when it comes to visuals, quality, the way it looks, and you compare like the looks of a certain games to Google Stadia, there's this grain that drives me absolutely insane. I've tried it on my Chromebook, my phone, my computer, and it's not just me. I talked to Chief, he's having the same experience as well. I talked to Mr. Tess, who's doing all the Shield updates. He's having this grainy feel that Xbox Cloud Gaming has that is driving me absolutely insane. That makes me prefer to play my game on Stadia compared to Xbox Cloud Gaming. Are y'all experiencing that? Because if you guys say no, you guys will be the only people that I know that are not.
Depends on the game.
That.
Depends on the
depends
game.
on the game completely.
And before
yeah.
you say, stop comparing Outriders, that's not an optimized Stadia game. When you look at like Gamer TV and Jerry's comparisons, like it's a night and day difference in the visuals. Like xCloud just looks better with Outriders. Now
What?
there's other games like if you say Dirt 5, yeah, it's a little grainy still. They can work on that, but Outriders
so
on
fast.
So again, by the end of this year, if that grain is still there, guys, that's an issue, man. That's an issue.
I think
Yeah,
they'll
but
have
you
that taken
can-
care of by like maybe September, October at the
It's
latest.
a
Alright,
bit rate
end of this
speed
year.
type thing. I could mimic it. I could load up Shadow and make it look like xCloud, or I could make it look clear, or I could do anything I want to control that.
But
Same with max
xCloud,
settings.
xCloud doesn't give you the option to change.
No,
that. I would like
nobody
to
does.
take
I'm
that
saying,
off.
but that's the only tech they really have to work on. You know what I mean? Now that they've got the content flowing and the hardware going into the data centers.
Latency wise is still behind.
That's
But
part of this. That's
latency is
part of the
tied to
stream,
bit
though.
rate.
Yeah, that's tied to
why
bit
the
rate.
bit rate's low, because when your bit rate is lower, it increases less latency. So when you're playing a fast moving game like Dirt 5, they have to lower the bit rate right now to allow the latency to be there, which is for me beating Stadia just in Dirt 5. Yes, Stadia holds a better visual in motion because they don't have near the bitrate issue. It's there. If you zoom in, you'll see the bitrates kick in on Stadia too, but it's nothing near. They have a lot more compression, but it's nothing near like what xCloud is doing. They're doing that to keep the latency good and okay. The next thing is they'll upgrade that next part of being able to run a higher bitrate, just like I could do here when I upgraded my internet. That's the next thing to come.
Bro,
I guarantee that once that graininess goes away, like what you're talking about with like input lag and stuff like that, that's gonna drop dramatically because that's tied to the bitrate. That's tied to the stream quality. Like Jerry's saying over and over, the hardware is there now. They just need to work on the streaming quality. Once that's caught up.
Yes, I want to ask. I was going to ask you a question here.
Sure.
Can you play xCloud?
Yes.
You if I said for you,
It's playable, yeah.
Is it in a good enough state for you to actually have a full, long, proper gaming session?
Not
So
really, no.
Not really for you.
No.
For me, it is in that state, and I know xCloud out there has got a mixed reputation. I'll just say it here, but I don't. If it is in a good enough state for you, you will be playing xCloud by the end of the year because they have something coming which Stadia
Halo?
doesn't. Yep,
Exclusive Halo.
Exclusives.
Here's the other thing. And I talked about this in our chat earlier this week. Let's pretend you're an average customer, somebody that's not in cloud gaming, an average gamer, somebody who's never dived into it. If you didn't know Stadia existed and you didn't have a comparison, would xCloud be good enough for you?
Possibly, but that's the
Here's
issue.
the thing. They have 23 million subscribers that now have access to it. If those people, let's say 80% of them have never tried cloud gaming and never looked at it, and it's good enough for them, what does that do to the competition?
Yeah,
here's the thing. I hope it's not good enough for them.
no, it's not good
Because
enough.
yeah, realistically, because I don't want people to think that's what cloud gaming is like when you have something that runs as well as Google Stadia.
Well, you
does.
have
I want
to-
people
but
to
it's-
look at Google Stadia and be like, yo, that is what cloud gaming should be because it looks better and it runs better than xCloud does.
If someone came to my house and they played xCloud versus Stadia, they would say xCloud runs better than Stadia. This is the fundamental problem we will always come back to with cloud gaming, is everybody's experience varies. No one can say one service is head and shoulders above another. You're just talking from your personal experience. I have got games on Stadia, what I can absolutely say without a shadow of a doubt are unplayable. They do not work.
What games?
Formula One. There's times where I cannot play that. There is big, massive judders where I will crash into the barriers, not due to my bad driving, just due to the how it's set up. A couple of weeks ago, I was on Cloud Gaming Dad's stream playing Trine 4. there was times it was completely and utterly unplayable. Everything else was working. Shadow was working. My Xbox stuff was working. My PlayStation Now was working. Stadia was just totally and utterly unplayable. It was just all blotchy, and I was jumping all over this, just being absolutely network conditions apparently, but everything else was working. This is the problem with cloud gaming. There is no one platform you can go out there and say this will work for you 100%.
So again, earlier when I said which cloud gaming platform would you guys recommend, you said Google Stadia. And everyone I've showcased these platforms to, that's what they shows as the ones that they'll and to me, I feel like that says something. No?
At this moment in time, Stadia is the easiest one to use for the most part. I think xCloud is extremely close to that now.
I think GeForce Now is second though, man. xCloud is third. Wouldn't you say? I think that's the order you guys gave earlier too.
If I was giving an order of what ones are best for me, it is GFN, xCloud, then Stadia. If you're talking ease of use and getting people to use it in the first, it's the reverse. It's
okay. Fair enough.
I would agree with that. Where I live, I would agree with that. Stadia used to be number one, but like I said, my ISP changed something and Stadia didn't keep up. And I don't feel like going into my router, my modem settings, and changing all sorts of settings just to get it to work. Because to me, that ruins the magic of cloud gaming.
It's your internet. See, this is the thing. This is what really grinds my gears over the last couple of weeks. If it's my internet with Stadia, and that why it's not working, then it's your internet why xCloud isn't working. It's your internet why GFN isn't working. It's your internet Shadow isn't working. That is fundamentally what the problem with cloud gaming is. Everybody's experience is different. And my internet, by the way, is a gig down, so it's not my.
I wish we can like poll it. I think if we can get a massive, I don't know who's big enough to do this, but I want like a massive poll when it comes to performance. I think that'll give a better understanding as to who runs better, right? Like if you have a poll of everyone contributing to the experience, I think numbers will speak as to who performs the best.
Facebook,
maybe that's the next poll.
You can't know because it's not going to be. It can never be truly accurate because everyone's circumstances are different.
I agree. But
the best thing for cloud gaming is that we don't need to have these discussions. Like all of them are easy to use, all of them are consistent. But we're so like I don't think people understand how far away we are from that being like the case. So right now we're going to go around in circles with this, every second week. And the biggest problem though is speaking in definitives about your experience, and that should be what it's like for everyone else. That needs to stop.
Yeah, there can't be definitives. And one thing I did want to mention on the cloud thing is there's also the two camps of people of who you're trying to please. You've got people like myself who are almost always going to be local first, and then cloud is going to support that experience when I'm away from whatever console or PC. So cloud for me has a different standard that I need for that experience. And then you've got the camp of people who are strictly cloud, like Ace and a bunch of other people who are only going to rely on cloud. That changes your perspective of what cloud needs to be. xCloud and GFN support their respective platforms, PC and Xbox. They already have a huge player base on console and whatnot, and right now xCloud is free. They've never charged for that. And then you've got Stadia and everything else. You've got your different camps. So guys like me are going to be looking at cloud differently than people who are looking at it as their only way to game. I personally couldn't see cloud being my only way to game because I would miss out on so much. But for the people that do it, That's awesome, and it's exciting, and cloud's really, really coming a long way, but I still think we're 5 to 10 years away from like mainstream on cloud. But yeah, there's just two separate camps of people that want cloud to support their gaming and people that want cloud to be their gaming.
Yeah. So just real quick, did we get everyone's take on Xbox cloud gaming? I do want to just cover PSN Now quickly before this podcast ends.
Let's go.
Okay, cool. So these rumors right now for PlayStation Now, I don't know if you guys caught this rumor, but it's supposed to be getting some pretty good stuff on this platform for the month of July. There's talks about Red Dead Redemption 2, Judgment coming, then bring back God of War. And this time, the rumor is saying that it's going to stay. There's Neo 2 coming as well. So I think, yeah, all right. So I think those are the games, right? So Red Dead, Judgment, God of War, Neo. Big games, right? AAA games coming to the platform. God of War is staying. So if God of War stays, then that is two Sony's IP that is officially sticking to PS Now with Horizon and God of War. Just want to open this up. Do you think Sony's making moves with the PlayStation Now, or do you guys think this is? What's your take on this news? I'm excited for it. I won't play God of War again, but you guys let me know what your thoughts are.
Let's not get too excited. I probably expect the official announcement on Monday.
Okay.
But that games list, if they come out on Monday and all of them games are there, count me back in as a PS Now subscriber, because they're just great games, and if they're going to stay there, that's even better. That will make me subscribe for longer.
Yeah. Sorry, to point out something states here, Judgment is only going to stay until October 4th. Red Dead Redemption is going to stay until November 1st.
Yeah.
So the only two games that are going to stick is God of War and Neo 2.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. That's how it's always been.
So you have 3 months to beat Judgment and 4 months to beat Red Dead Redemption 2.
Well, you're not going to beat. Well, maybe the campaign, but like the online is
You almost made it.
Is infinite. So, yeah, will you get online with it? We don't know. The campaign, great if you haven't tried them games before, but yeah, PS Now are just doing it completely different from everyone else. They're putting their older games on there, games that are already available, whether it be in a sale or as part of other subscriptions already. But then this month they're stepping that up with Judgment and Red Dead 2, which is good. Welcome. Let's see more of that.
Okay. Anyone else want to add to the PlayStation Now rumor news?
If you have not played God of War, you need to play God of War.
Yeah.
Absolutely outstanding game. I don't think this is a move. I think this was planned for a while because they've stuck these games on before. Yeah. And if we're going to be reasonably honest, I think PlayStation Now has been putting some pretty good games onto the platform.
They have.
Borderlands 3 was on it. Avengers, if you like it or not, even though it's a kiddies game. And we will...
Don't tell Anthony that. Or Ray.
Yeah, but I think PlayStation Now have... PlayStation in general, not just for PlayStation Now, but PlayStation Plus as well, have been putting some absolutely big games onto the system to claim. So I think the rumors are right, but I think absolutely brilliant. And for £40, £50, $60, or £40, or $50 for the year of PlayStation PS Now, I think it is real good value there as well, because there's like 800 odd games on the platform, so there is an absolute ton to play there.
Yeah, agreed. GTP, what's your take, man?
Yeah, PS Now is a little bit of an underrated service, honestly. I mean, every time I jump in and mess with it on PC, the 1080p 60 is really clean. I don't have a lot of latency issues. It's always worked really well for me. And the content's not bad. Like Duncan said, there's a ton of games on there. My gripe has been keeping exclusives, keeping first-party titles on there and not pulling them. I don't really care how long third parties on there. I'm used to those rotating in and out. However, I'll gripe the same as everybody else. If I'm going to be able to purchase that game and it was playable in the cloud during a subscription, I would like that purchase to then show up in cloud for me to play. I think everybody that enjoys cloud wants all their purchases to be able to show up in cloud. So that's a big one everybody needs to work on for games that leave. But yeah, bring in more first party that's not going to leave. It was great when they did it with Horizon, but PlayStation really needs to come out and just say, here's all the exclusives that have ever been on PS Now and they're not leaving. I mean, that's where I was playing Spider-Man on PC, and when they pulled it, I was at like 70% done, and I didn't finish it till I bought my PS5. So it kind of sucked when that happened. But they're moving in the right direction, but I think they're way behind even like where Xbox or Stadia or anybody else. I think it's going to be like this time next year before we're talking about upgraded PlayStation stuff, especially since they're going to need PS5 hardware or blades and stuff, and I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, good point. So when I play God of War, when it released on PS Now, it's only 720. So I'm excited to test this out, with 1080.
Same with me on
for sure.
Horizon. It was 720, 30. It was horrible. And then I retried it at the 1080p 60, and it was really a night and day experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else want to add to this? If not, we're going to wrap things up. Cool. Well, appreciate you guys joining us, man. This was a lot of fun. That's why I love this panel, man. Like, there's no yes men here, just to clarify that. But I love that everyone has a voice, everyone has an opinion. We can choose to disagree, but we're not like, cutting each other's throats off. I think we have some pretty good discussions here. I appreciate that about this panel. It would have been nice if Holtz and Gamer TV was on here, just saying. But yeah, next time we'll have them two on here, hopefully, and we can have even better discussions. But just want to give the members a chance to plug in the channel, let the people know what they do and where they can find you guys. So to get started, Ben, what do you do, sir? Where can people find you?
They can find me everywhere on Discord, everybody's servers, Pasipides, or I have started my YouTube channel finally. Still not a ton of content on there, but the name of the channel is in my description, my name for the little video down below. Feel free to check it out.
Good stuff. GTP, what do you do, sir? Where can people find you?
Yeah, Game Tech Planet on YouTube, Cloud Console PC, tons of comparisons, gameplay, and a little news here and there, and at Game Tech Planet over on Twitter. And in all the videos, there's a description to Discord if you want to jump in over there and be able to talk about whatever, or get questions answered, or get the occasional giveaway. So
Cool. Awesome to have you guys. Duncan, what do you do, sir? Where can people find you?
It's good to have you back. And
so close.
Yes. You can check me out at Cloudy with Games. And since we were just talking about PlayStation, we're running a competition where you can win a year's subscription to PlayStation Now. So you can actually go enter that. It's on our Twitter page.
Nice. Good stuff. And Monkey, do you want to plug in then?
No, just thanks everyone in the chat. You've all been very good with your opinions and that tonight. It's been flowing very nicely. It's great to see everyone here. Other than just subscribing here and to everyone else's, if you played Up 5 on Xbox, search for up, down, left, right, round, and have a go at the playground I made and see if you can beat my 5 minute 30 seconds time it's on. It's going to be a struggle.
Good stuff. Well, this was a lot of fun. Again, we really enjoyed just talking about cloud gaming news. This was a packed week. Going to be interesting to see what happens next week. But appreciate you guys. We'll catch you guys same time next week, and we might have a guest. We'll let you guys know. Till next time, fellas. Peace out.